The DJI mic has everything I could have ever hoped for in a wireless mic system. And in my personal opinion, it's kind of dethroned the wireless Go 2. After using both systems, I want to tell you why I'm personally switching over to the DJI wireless mic, and why I think DJI has knocked it out of the park. No pun intended. Let me start off by saying that I am not personally sponsored by either DJI or Rode. I'm just an average guy with his hard-earned money, buying products and putting them through their paces, giving you guys a real-world example of why I think that one unit currently is better than the other. Let's talk about what you get in the box with each unit. With the DJI, you're going to get two wireless transmitters that are both capable of internally recording, along with a receiver. DJI includes a carrying bag to keep things together, but you also get a case that houses all of the units. You get two great windscreen muffs, an audio cable, a USB-C cable to connect to the computer and charge the units, but you also get some cell phone connections, making the DJI mic ready to go to suit all creators. With the Rode Wireless Go 2, everything's kind of thrown into a bag. Yeah, it's sort of controlled chaos, but to be fair though, you do get what you need. Now, I wanted to make a note that I bought the lavalier mic, which obviously does not come with the original units. Also, Rode does provide several USB cables, one for each unit, so technically you can charge them all individually. So what do I love about the DJI mic specifically? I absolutely love that it has a built-in screen and you can access the menu functions instantaneously. The settings can be changed in real time. You don't need a computer or an external device. Not to mention it has everything conveniently put inside a case, which also charges the unit and acts as a power bank. So I know that the mics are ready to go and they're being charged when not in use. I think that's really convenient and well packaged. What I also really appreciate is the magnetic clips. Not only do you get the traditional hot shoe adapters, but you get these magnetic clips that can clip onto your shirt, anywhere on your shirt, and you can really keep the mics out of the frame. Now, the only con to the magnetic clips is the mics are heavy, so oftentimes they do pull down your shirt, and you kind of need to readjust. I have my DJI mic right now clipped to my shirt, and it's kind of out of the frame, but if I go up a little bit, you can see it right there. So now let's talk about the Rode Wireless Go 2. Well, I actually had a lot of issues with the Rode Wireless Go 2 initially, and I made a lot of videos about it. I was getting this weird clicking sound in both the internal recordings and to the recordings to the mic, and Rode was great, their customer service was great. I gave the units back to them. They ended up figuring out that it was an antenna issue and replaced the units for me for free. Now, when I posted those videos, there's some people that were commenting that they had the same exact issue. I'm hoping it was an issue that has resolved since then. But if I'm being honest, I've always kind of had quality issues with my Rode Wireless Go 2. Now, the clicking issue hasn't came back. I think that's been resolved, but I get these weird signal issues or just sometimes some interference. For example, I could be recording and then something somewhere out of sight will cause feedback. So I hardly found myself using the Rode Wireless Go 2 because personally, I felt they were so unreliable, and kind of the bad start that I had with the system kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, because I know there's a lot of people out there that have the Rode Wireless Go 2 and they love it. It's fantastic. They have zero issues. So maybe for me, it was just kind of getting off on the wrong foot to start off with. Actually, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I still have the screen protectors on my Rode Wireless Go 2s. And that's because I kind of gave up really early on and just switched over to shotgun mics. But it's not all pros with the DJI wireless mic. Now, I haven't had nearly as much reliability concerns, and really all the issues that I'm going to list today are very, very minor. And I have been using the unit for the last 3 months. So at least initially, I haven't experienced any major issues. For example, there's no interference or weird clicking sound or feedback. All of the recordings that I've done with the DJI wireless mic have been really high quality with no issues. But I gotta talk about the included cable. It's absolutely ridiculous. I feel like it's a joke. It's way too short, it's way too stiff. It feels high quality. It's a very thick cable. It has a good gauge to it. I'm sure it's giving you a quality signal, but it's just unusable. You can't stretch it, can't do anything with it. All cameras have their mic inputs in different locations. The good news is it's an easy fix. You can just buy a cable that fits your needs, and that's exactly what I did. Also, the hot shoe adapters or the clips on the DJI mic don't necessarily fit everywhere. or at least where you think they would fit. For example, on my small rig cage from my Sony a7S III, there's several hot shoe adapter locations, and the DJI mic just kind of slides right through it. And that's kind of weird, so it's gonna force me to buy like another adapter. Now again, these are minor issues, and I think DJI can easily fix these with the next iteration. As far as like usability and like the clips and all that stuff, Rode never had those issues specifically. And speaking of the magnetic clips, I kind of just want to make everyone aware of this. Make sure you put the magnetic clips back seated properly. If you put them back on the units a little bit too low, when you put the units back in the charging case, they won't seat right and you won't actually charge the units. Ask me how I know. Okay, if you guys haven't guessed it already, we're back at the baseball diamond that I used for the Rode Wireless Go 2 review about a year ago. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I think we did a really good review. We tested the Rode Wireless Go 2 versus the Sony shotgun mic. We tested the range capabilities. I ran all over the baseball diamond. It's a really interesting video, and I'll put the link here. So let's actually test the DJI mic and put it through the same paces and compare it to the Rode Wireless Go 2. Now, in my opinion, I think the units sound very different from one another, and I'm hoping to demonstrate that here today. The raw recordings from the Rode has a bit more presence, and it sounds a little bit more richer, but it also clips easier because it's a little bit more hotter. The DJI mic sounds a little bit more neutral, and it's not as gain hungry, so in my opinion, it's a little bit more controlled, a little bit more balanced, and it doesn't clip as easily. Personally, I think the DJI EQ is a little bit better, and it kind of reminds me of my Shure SM7B, but both units sound really great once you've kind of EQ'd them and dialed them in to your liking. Let's start off by testing out the DJI mic. I'm plugged into the camera right now. This is what the mic sounds like plugged into the camera. Test 1, 2, 3, test 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you guys can hear the raw recording, and you can kind of see what I mean by the neutral sound. It doesn't quite have that presence or richness. You get a much more balanced sound. Now, this is the quality of the DJI mic's internal recordings. Right now we're testing the internal recordings. The cool thing about the DJI mic is you can access the setting right there on the LCD screen, and you can automatically set it to do internal recordings. That wasn't previously present, but DJI released a new firmware update and added a ton of new features. For example, you can also turn off the light. If you don't want the light to be in the frame or to distract the viewers, you can turn that off now or set different light brightnesses. Okay, now we are testing out the Rode Wireless Go 2. And this is the Rode Wireless Go 2 plugged into the camera. We're directly plugged into the camera. Test 1, 2, test 1, 2, 3. I hope you guys can see what I mean by the Rode has a little bit more presence. The raw recording of the Rode just feels a little bit more richer. It's not as neutral. Some people may like that. Personally, I like a neutral signal or a neutral sound so I can adjust it any way that I want because, again, it reminds me of my Shure SM7B. The DJI is a little bit more neutral. The Rode's a little bit more rich. Now we're testing the internal recording of the Rode Wireless Go 2. As I said, the Rode Wireless Go 2 settings have to be accessed by a separate device. You can't access the menu settings or change anything on the go like we did with the DJI. You need a computer, you need to plug in somewhere and change the settings. So that's kind of, in my opinion, a little bit of a con, especially for running gun shooters out there that need to change things on the fly. But this is the internal recording of the Rode Wireless Go 2. I also wanted to mention that both units have a safety track. Now, before we came out to the field, I went into the Rode settings on my computer and I enabled safety tracks. One of them is going to be a little bit lower than the other, a safety signal. Just in case your gains were off, you can still kind of recover the audio. Like I said, both units have them. This is the Rode Wireless Go 2 and its safety track. So this is a safety track right now, test 1, 2, 3, test 1, 2, 3. And this is the regular recording, test 1, 2, 3, test 1, 2, 3. Now this is the safety track of the DJI mic, test 1, 2, 3, test 1, 2, 3. Here's the regular track of the DJI mic, test 1, 2, 3. One more thing that I actually just noticed with both units is the LCD screen. Obviously the DJI has the built-in menu systems and all that, but I don't want to talk about that. Just viewing the LCD screens in direct sunlight, I can see the DJI even from this distance. The Rode's really glary and hard to see. Just minor things I wanted to point out. I just want to make sure I'm absolutely truthful and giving you guys all of my perspective. Okay, now the last time that I was here, I was huffing and puffing all over the field trying to do the range test with the Rode Wireless Go 2. So you probably guessed it. I'm gonna do it again, now with the DJI mic system. So rather than subjecting all of you to the same nauseating jiggling in my inability to say no to French fries, I was able to go anywhere on this baseball field without a loss in signal from either units. There's no loss here, or even here. Honestly, I'm never going to need this kind of range. Now granted, your miles may vary, and any solid obstructions can cause issues, but if you think there will be any issues, make sure you hit that internal recorder on the DJI or enable it automatically. Okay, so after huffing and puffing all over the baseball diamond, you can see that the DJI mic has plenty of wireless range, more than I will ever use. I really think the DJI system is just a great unit. But, I mean, what do you think? You've been watching me huffing and puffing all over the field so far. Which unit do you like more? Do you like the Rode Wireless Go 2 or do you like the DJI?
I gotta say, from what I've seen today, I would prefer the DJI. I think it really knocked it out the park this time.
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot more features, right? You get the case, it's wirelessly charging, you have the LCD screen. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the Rode Wireless Go 2, right? It sounds great. A lot of people use it. A lot of people really enjoy the Rode Wireless Go 2. Absolutely, and I really want to make this clear. I am not saying that the Rode is a bad system at all. If you already own it and you're happy with it, it's a great mic. I'm sure Rode's not going to take this line down, so I expect to see some major updates to the Rode Wireless Go 3, but right now, DJI is the clear winner. They really took an honest, hard look at wireless mics in general and improved on them in every way. The world of wireless mics is going to be very, very interesting for many years to come.